My fellow Georgia Democrats, please join me in welcoming the next governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams.
Democrats. Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please help me thank once again our next Lieutenant Governor and my dear friend, Sarah Riggs Amico. Georgia Democrats, you are a beautiful sight. We have come together from every region of our state, from the mountains to the coast, from the gnat line to the belt line. We have come together to get ready to win in November, because we have an opportunity this year, not only to change the course of our state, we are ready to electrify our nation as we remind them of the power of true democracy. I am honored to stand before you as the nominee for governor of Georgia. And looking out at you, I am thrilled to see what we can accomplish together this fall and in the years to come. Because with the extraordinary efforts of our volunteers, the hard work of our candidates, the lived dreams of voters who hear from us every day, I know that we have a single shared destiny ahead, and that destiny is victory. But our victory will be more than electing this remarkable slate of candidates you've heard from today, up and down the ballot in every community in our state. It will be more than setting the table for change for education and our economy and our health care. When we win in November, it will be because we have reclaimed the mantle of leadership by sharing our values and respecting the voices of those who are ready for more. By fighting not against one another, but for our best lives as Georgians. Now, you see, I spent this week in South Georgia visiting. I got to visit with some toddlers in Seminole County, and I got to stand in a barber shop in Albany. I got to walk the sandy beaches of the Flint River and the plowed furrows of Mitchell County. I got to listen to college kids in Valdosta and hold the hands of senior citizens in Fitzgerald, Georgia. And the thing of it is, I had the same conversations there that I had up in Chatsworth and down in Pooler, in Henry County, in Hinesville, and Kirkwood. Because the thing of it is, this magnificent state is hungry for opportunity no matter where we live. We are eager for the ability to work for the possibility of more. In Donaldsonville, I spoke with a passionate elementary school principal who's made excellent gains in reading scores despite meager resources. We spoke about the antiquated computers that may be running our elections. We talked about antiquated computers and the need for rural broadband. But as we stood in the hallway, I watched these second graders stand on his tiptoes. He was trying to help his friend at a water fountain in this sunny hallway. One little boy held the bottle while the other one reached up to push the button to fill it to the brim. And when his bottle was filled, the little boy switched places and did it all over again. You see, no one had to tell them what to do, to cooperate, and to know that if they took turns, that each could have enough to make them whole. You see, I entered this race with a simple truth in mind, that under democratic leadership, every single Georgian will thrive. But more importantly, as Georgia Democrats, we know that we thrive together. Because it's not just Democrats who know this. Georgians from across the political spectrum, in every county in our state, from country homes to townhomes to condos, they know it is time for a new brand of leadership in Georgia. They're ready for a leadership that's committed to leaving no family behind, even as success comes to more and more of our neighbors. One that rejects the atmosphere of hate and division that is consuming our politics. But instead, they want a leadership that leans into the power of community and inclusion, that guarantees a seat at the table for everyone. Georgia Democrats, we've been across this state, and I can tell you, our people are hungry for leadership that embraces what those second graders knew instinctively, that our fates as Georgians are tied together, that when a child born across town falls through the cracks, her future will affect the child born on the more affluent side of town. That when a Georgia farmer we may never meet succeeds, their achievements will power our economy and propel our families forward. That the immigrant whose shop succeeds will improve the job prospects of the next person with a dream. This is the Georgia we are fighting for. A state rooted in the traditions of community, so rooted in traditions of community, but also committed to progress, because we know we can respect where we are and reach for more, because that's who we are as Georgians. We know that Georgia is a state where jobs and access can lead to stability and strength, where our voters know we respect them, not only with the words we speak, but with the promises we keep and the values we hold most dear. You got to hear a little bit of my story, but the thing of it is, my story is our story. Because this is a Georgia where no matter how tough things get, our core beliefs in faith and family and service never waver. Because, you know, faith grounds us in a morality that will not allow bigotry and discrimination to turn us around. Because we know, regardless of the God to whom we pray, or if we do pray, we are each obliged to do what is right, to do what is good, and to be a shield for the vulnerable, never a sword to strike them down. We believe in the value of family, a love of family, no matter how we came to be. The families we were born to, or the families we create along the way, the ones who hear our fears in the night and celebrate our dreams in the light. The families who sacrifice for our success and love us even when we stumble. That is the value of family. And Georgia Democrats, we believe in the value of service. The mom who volunteers at that food pantry to ensure that another mother can feed her kids. Or the new citizen who teaches English to those who seek a better life. And the thousands of Georgians who live in towns and neighborhoods who've dedicated their lives to our safety, our health, and our education. Our teachers and our firefighters, our cops and our doctors and our nurses. The dentist who travels across rural Georgia for patients without a car. And the soup kitchen that feeds the cities overflowing with plenty. The service of our veterans and our military families. Those brave men and women who defend our nation and deserve more than a simple thanks, but never demand it. Our values in Georgia are clear: faith, family, service. These values ground us in why we run for office, and they remind us of why in 2018 we must win. Because Georgia Democrats, I'm going to tell you a secret. Not everyone running for office respects the right to personal faith. And some of our folks remain scared of families that don't look like their own. And too many people who stand for public office are willing to dedicate their lives not to the service of others, but they wonder if they can feed their own families at night if somebody else has something more. But instead, we know as Georgia Democrats that no one who serves a Georgian should have to worry if they can feed their child. But we Democrats have to do more than talk about our values. We have to live them out loud with the campaigns we run and the policies we champion, with the promises we make and the truth that we keep, and the way we will lead. That is who we are. Because as your next governor, I know we will invest in our children from cradle to career. Working with our new school superintendent, Otha Thornton, I will not be. You see, I'm going to work with Otha because, I don't intend to be the education governor of Georgia. We've had a lot of those. I intend to be the education governor of the great state of Georgia, the public education governor of the great state of Georgia. Because working together, we will no longer shortchange our children and sabotage our futures. Because our children deserve better, and it's the right thing to do. And because we know that when all of Georgia's children have the chance to reach their potential, regardless of their zip code, we can reach our potential as a state and unleash the full power of our minds and our economy. But still, even as I speak, we know that public education is under assault in our state, with our kids and our educators being told to do more and more with less and less. And so I intend to work with our newly added legislators and our seasoned leaders in the House and the Senate to reverse the terrible drain of $100 million a year going to private schools so we can invest in our constitutional We are going to take our money back, and we're not going to double it, but we're going to double down on our constitutional responsibility for the public schools in the state of Georgia. And under Democratic leadership at all levels of government, our students, our parents, and our educators will once again know that they are the heart of Georgia, preparing our young people and propelling them towards lives of security and happiness and achievement, and our state towards its rightful place as a national leader. But I've got some other things on the plate, because, standing with our new Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Riggs-Amico, we will recognize and respect the power of high-quality, affordable childcare and early learning in the state of Georgia. Together, we will empower our youngest Georgians, and we will make certain that post-secondary access is available for everyone who wishes to learn. I was recently down in Thomasville staying at a hotel, and a young hotel worker talked to me about the fact that she wasn't really planning to vote. In fact, she hasn't registered yet. So we had a conversation. No. This is an opportunity to talk. And so Miss Allison and I had a conversation. I didn't tell her to vote for me. I didn't tell her why she was shirking her responsibilities. I asked Allison about her life. And Allison told me that she wants to go back to college, but she can't, because she can't afford to put her 3-year-old and her 1-year-old in daycare. And because she can't afford the cost of daycare, she can't afford the time it would take to work and go to school and guarantee a future for her children. So this 24-year-old has already given up. She puts off her education, and she wonders if her children are actually learning in the only place she can afford. Because Allison hasn't heard from someone. She hasn't heard from a Georgia Democrat to talk to her about her dreams being yoked to our dreams and how we can thrive together. You see, I talked to Allison about the job of the governor of Georgia, because she didn't realize that the governor has the responsibility of helping her and her family. That debt-free college and our early learning scholarship program will invest in Allison and her children, will allow millions of Georgia's workers and entrepreneurs to succeed, to pursue their dreams and create new jobs, knowing that their children are safe and their minds and their families are growing strong. That's why we're running, because Allison needs a Georgia Democrat to help her out. And I know that with our next Attorney General, Charlie Bailey, we will expand our state's commitment to criminal justice reform. We're not going to go back to the bad old days where we treat everyone like we're mad at them and afraid of them. Instead, we're going to continue to decriminalize being poor in the state of Georgia. And we're going to incentivize the transition from ex-offender to productive citizen. And we're going to start young. We're going to keep our kids out of the school-to-prison pipeline. And together we are going to build a stronger relationship between our communities and our law enforcement, one where we are in this together. And as your next governor, as the state's CEO, I will champion an economy that works in all 159 counties, that gives Georgians the freedom to do more than just survive. We all deserve a real chance to succeed. And that gap between struggle and success has been overlooked by too many of the state's leaders for too many years. But we know that when we win, we will renew the respect for dignity, the dignity of work in every sector, every field, every corner of Georgia. And when we talk about fields, I know that Fred Swan, our new agriculture commissioner, is going to help us grow. Because working with him, we are going to grow jobs in precision farming and agri-tech, and we're going to fight decisions that harm our farmers and our state's largest economic driver. Because I know that everyone wins when we choose to honor service and when we honor hard work with wages you can raise a family on. And we're going to build an economy where you can raise your family and put a little bit away for your future. Because I know we will invite corporations and their jobs to Georgia, but we will also invest in the small businesses that keep our main streets and our neighborhoods alive. That's what we've got to do in Georgia. And as we elect our new leaders to the Public Service Commission, Don Randolph and Lindy Miller, I will work with them to bring more than just jobs to Georgia. Together, we can build career pipelines in renewable energy and begin to protect our climate and our communities, because the environment matters and people's lives matter, and we can do this together. And yet, we have even more work to do, because we have to defeat horrific legislation like RFRA. And when we do so, when we kill that and put it in its grave for the final time, we will continue to spur creativity through a growing entertainment industry. And with Richard Keatley as our labor commissioner, we will create 22,000 apprenticeships by 2022. And we'll work together with our trade unions to bolster the strength of our unions and grow an economy that lifts every Georgian. But we'll do even more together, because we will help the physically and the developmentally disabled join the workforce across our state, because they deserve every chance and every opportunity. Working together, we will build an economy as strong and as diverse as our people, and we will watch a surging state of Georgia breathe life into individuals and families. In our Georgia, everyone will have a license to dream and the opportunity they deserve to achieve. Now, just this week, I think you may have seen how critical it is that we have an actually effective Secretary of State. one who respects the right to vote for every Georgia citizen. And with John Barrow at the helm, we will not see voters warned that their polling places have closed or that their right to vote is in question because of a lost postcard or a hyphenated last name. We will have real leaders who champion voter registration and end voter suppression and lead the nation once again in access to the fundamental civil right that our fellow Georgians bled to protect. That is what we have when we change the state of Georgia. Because on behalf of everyone who's running on this ticket, to Georgians waiting for their chance at prosperity, hear me when I say to you, we are with you, and we will never stop fighting for you. Republican leaders have had their chance to do right by us, and they have proven that they are not up to the task. They have failed us in too many ways, and they are pledging to continue their failure. And most egregiously, they have put their cheap politics ahead of our health and our lives, costing us people and rural hospitals at an extraordinary rate. Well, the thing of it is, with Janice Laws as our next insurance commissioner, I intend to ensure that Georgia's going to join 34 other states in the District of Columbia, and we will expand Medicaid in the state of Georgia. That is a promise. And we're going to do a few more things that we were told that we don't do as Democrats because we're afraid of who we are, but I'll tell them no, because in our schools, in our houses of worship, on our college campuses, and in our community gatherings, we will proudly demand responsible gun ownership in the state of Georgia. We will be a state. We are going to be a state where those who exercise their right to bear arms will know that we don't point weapons at children, and that we arm our teachers with resources, not with 45s. From the Gold Dome to Congress, to county commissioners and school boards, in 2018, we are going to win, and in 2019, as John Barrow said, Georgia's going to be under new management. We are going to be a state. We're going to be a state where our values come to life when we defend civil rights, when we advance the cause of justice, when those who are straight, when those of us who enjoy the liberty, when we are straight and we stand up for the rights of the LGBTQ community. When those of us who are citizens shout with every breath in our lungs for the protection of those forced into the shadows. When those of us who live outside of prison walls recognize the humanity of the incarcerated. When we are willing to work together to ensure that the communities they one day rejoin will receive healed citizens, prepared to contribute and lead better lives. Georgia Democrats, I'm excited about this election. I'm excited because I know that together we will build a Georgia rooted in faith in one another, where we value more than just the notion and the slogan of family. A Georgia where our service to each other drives prosperity for all. That is our Georgia. But none of this will be easy. Before we claim our victory, before we write our new chapter here in the state of Georgia, we have to fight old and new enemies in this campaign. We've got to fight trickery and complacency. And worse, we have to fight the paralyzing fear that comes with the promise of real hope. But we know it's possible. It's how we broke a supermajority in the state Senate and prevented one from ever taking place in the state House. It is a thrill to see you here, but to win, we need to do more than proudly sport a bumper sticker or plant a yard sign in our front yards. You see, we need to find those who gave up on us a long time ago, and we have to give them a reason to believe again. That means that we need each of you to talk about why this election matters. Have the conversation I had with Allison, and show your neighbors why they should care. Because this election will not be won on Facebook or Twitter alone. We've got to do what Democrats once did in this state, what we know how to do because it's in our DNA. We have to have real conversations on stoops and on sun porches, in living rooms and in pews, on the phone and on email, on the bus and on the sidewalk and in the grocery store. Anywhere we are, we need to talk about what's at stake. Because in the areas of town where we pass by and we write them off because no one there votes, we got to stop the car and go back. And we've got to accept a little bit of responsibility, because the thing of it is, they don't vote because we don't ask. But this year, we're not going to just ask once. We're going to ask again and again. This year, we are going to plant our flag and plant our feet and not walk away until these new voters are ready to come with us to the polls. Together, Georgia Democrats, we are growing an unprecedented field program that is built to win. It's targeting those voters who might need to hear us 4 or 5 times before they show up at the polls. And we've got the team in place to target those we need to reach. But now we need you, because we need the volunteers who understand what's at stake in Peach County and Taylor County, who understand why voting in Lilburn and Gainesville could yield a different result if they just had one more person to help them out. We've got to break that tradition, and we actually have to discuss politics with our uncles in Lawrence County and our cousins in Cuthbert. We got to get this done. We have to reach out. We have to reach out to those who are sitting on the fence, and sometimes we've got to go to the other side of it. But not by betraying our values. We don't have to betray who we are. Instead, we have to show our values and show them how our values will bring better opportunities to the state of Georgia. Our neighbors need to hear from us. And with Georgia-grown volunteers, we will bring this election home to victory. That is in the cards. With the most dynamic slate of candidates in a generation, I have no doubt we can win in Georgia. We can win up and down the ballot in red counties and blue counties and pink counties and purple counties and Paisley counties. We are going to win. And we are going to renew the promise of our state for all of the souls who are depending on us to lead so they can thrive. Our victory is in the air, Georgia Democrats. This is our movement. This is our moment. Because by God, this is our Georgia. This is our Georgia. Thank you. Thank you for all that you've done and for your commitment to the hard work that lies ahead. We've got this, Georgia Democrats. Now let's go get it done. Thank you.